Okay guys, now that you've finished the front side of the topic 17D through F worksheet, I am going to have you take some notes really fast to recap what we've done so far and get you set up for the rest of the worksheet. So let's start with recapping. So topic 17A was about labeling your sides. Okay, so in a right triangle, we're always going to have a right angle, and then typically some other angle will be marked. So for instance, let's mark this one. And I remember in class I told you that's theta. It's like a little like a little O with a little loop-de-loop. Based on where that angle is, we're going to be able to name our side. So we've been doing classes, we've been circling the angle. The side all the way, like if you literally draw a line from the angle to a side far on the other side, that's the opposite side. So O stands for opposite. Okay. The hypotenuse is always diagonal or opposite from the right angle. Let's really hope I'm spelling hypotenuse right. That one always gets me. The last side is the adjacent side, and adjacent literally means next to. So it's the other side that's literally touching that angle. So A stands for adjacent. Okay, so that's the first thing that we learned for this right triangles unit. And I'm just going to kind of help separate these out a little bit with. Okay, the next thing we did is we set up our trig functions. And there are three special relationships in right triangles, and you can write SOHCAHTOA. This is the SOHCAHTOA up a couple of different ways. Some people write it like this. I don't know if I did this in all my classes, but some people also prefer to write it like this. Because when you see it like this, you're like, oh wait, sine is O over H, cosine is A over H, tangent is O over A. So those are your two ways to write it. And let's just recap really fast. So my three are these. I'll do this in red. So we have sine, and that's how you spell it. And sine of an angle is equal to O over H. We have cosine. Cosine of an angle is A over H. And tangent of an angle is O over A. So those are our trig functions. So the next thing we did is we learned how to set up equations. So setting up equations. We have three steps. We always start by circling the angle. Then we label the sides. And then we use SOHCAHTOA to pick the correct trig function. And that's how you set up your equation. Okay, and that's what we did last class. So this is kind of a review up till this point. Okay. Then you guys just did a video on solving when you're solving for the angle. So we have three cases for solving. So this is 17D. Okay. So let's do those three cases really fast. When x is on the top, we say you multiply. So here's an example. If I have something like sine of 12 equals x over 8, you'll notice that x is in the, sorry guys, I've been taking notes and you can't see. Hopefully that's better now. Okay, so sine of 12, and if you miss something, you need to pause and go back. Feel free to go do that. So let's say this is our equation. X is in the numerator. So the way we get rid of that is we multiply both sides by 8, so we can get x by itself. 8, this division by 8 and multiplying by 8 are inverse operations. Those undo each other. So now I have x by itself on this side, and on this side I have 8 times sine of 12, and that you can type into your calculator. The second case is when x is in the bottom. And this is when we do the switcheroo or the switch. So for instance, let's say that we have cosine of 82 is equal to 6 over x. Okay. We talked about our proportion rules. Since this is kind of like cosine of 82 over 1, and then we switch the diagonals, we get something else that's true. So when we do this, the x comes up to this side by itself. The 6 stays on the top, but this whole thing, cosine of 82, goes in the denominator, and that you can plug into your calculator. Our third type is when x is the angle. And this is when we use the inverse. So if I have something like tan of 62 equals, oh, sorry, we need to have a variable in the middle. I lied. Hold up. Let's fix that. It's going to take a little bit to dry. So that's where my angle goes. I'm sorry. So if we have like something like tangent of, go ahead and put an x there, I will as soon as that dries, equals something like 2 over 7. Okay. If I want to get tangent by itself, or sorry, if I want to get the x by itself, I have to do tangent inverse to both sides. So those will undo each other. So x is now by itself. And you get tan inverse. Okay, let's see if this is dry enough for me to try to write a little x. That should be at least enough where you can see it. There's an x. Okay, we got one more thing we need to squeeze in really, really fast. And this is what you're going to do next. I think this is 17, E through F. And these are angles of elevation and depression. Okay, so, sorry, one second, guys. Okay, so, here's an example. So for angle of elevation, sorry guys, someone was trying to get me really fast. The way you do them is it always starts by looking straight. So it can either be a person's looking straight, or an animal's looking straight, or a boat is moving straight, it doesn't really matter. Is anytime you have to look up. So this angle that you looked up, so let's call that 15 degrees, it can be whatever, that's an angle of elevation. So anytime you look up. An angle of depression is anytime you look down. So let's say this is like 50 degrees. Anytime you look down, you have an angle of depression. Okay guys, so go ahead and take a moment, make sure you finish taking these notes. If you need to go back and watch anything again, feel free. And then I'm going to do the beginning of the back of the worksheet with you with another video.